All right, welcome back to Touch Designer. In this video, we're going to be talking a little bit about audio reactivity and how we can analyze audio to make visual things react to it. So we can go ahead and delete any operators in Touch Designer right now. And then we're going to go over to the palette. If you don't see it, it's this button. And then under Tools, there's one called Audio Analysis. You can just drag that in. And then we have this nice little UI inside of a tool. If we zoom in to go inside of the audio analysis tool, we'll see that it is a massive network of chops all working to analyze audio and give us some parameters that we could use in audio analysis. In the parameters over here, there are some switches. Active just means if it's being analyzed or not. So we can turn on mids and highs, and then whatever we put in is going to be analyzed. Right now we see these moving just because there is the default audio inside of this tool. But for our purposes, we want to create a audio file in chop. So we're going to find that and place it before our audio analysis tool. And then we'll see channel 1, channel 2. It's like the left and right channels of our audio. Then we're going to go ahead and connect this output of the audio file to the input of audio analysis. Now we can see that it's reacting. Well, it's reacting to our audio file. If we want to hear our audio file, though, we have to add another chop so we can output it. And to connect it, to create it and have it already connected to this chop, we can drag out from that point and then just hit tab while still holding down on the mouse. And then we can add a audio device out. And then you shouldn't hear it anymore. With the audio file in, it has a song that was downloaded to your computer when you downloaded Touch Designer that just plays by default. If you want to use your own track, you can go up here to File, hit the plus, and then specify another audio file to work with. I will suggest that for making something audio reactive, it really helps to have a track that has a wide frequency range, like good bass, good mids, good highs. So that way when you're analyzing your audio, you can kind of tap into each of these things. Whereas if you had only one instrument, like a saxophone or a single voice, you're in a much more limited frequency range, and analyzing that is just not going to be as fun. So I would do something with a lot of different sounds, a lot of different frequencies. So yeah, now we've got that. We see it being analyzed. There's also these other parameters in the audio analysis tool: kick, snare, rhythm, and some spectral density stuff. So I haven't had very good luck with the kick and snare, since you're only limited to setting a threshold and there's no other way to really tweak those parameters. I find that they're very hit or miss. Sometimes they will think something else is a kick, like bass is a kick, or a synth is a snare. Of course, you can still get interesting patterns out of them. Just sort of, you see it here as a kind of impulse. And then there's the rhythm, which is even more hit or miss. Can still be cool though, because it kind of takes on when things happen in the music. It really, really depends on what you're working with audio wise. There's also all of these parameters that you can change about how your different frequency ranges are being detected. Your threshold, if you see that something's not moving as much as you would like it to, you could maybe lower the threshold, or if it's moving too much, raise the threshold. And then you can just add gain to a frequency. You can also add, it just means you're like adding a constant number. So if like this base value was 0.5 and we added 1, then it would be 1.5. It's just like a constant. I don't really use this that much within the audio analysis tool because that's adding something to the analysis just isn't really necessary. And if I wanted to add something, I would do it later on. And then there's smooth, which kind of adds a lag. If something's really jumpy, you can smooth it out a little bit. So looking at our mid here, it's kind of jumping around. We could maybe smooth it out a little bit. And now it's got a softer movement. This is super important for audio reactivity because if a sound is changing a visual, you don't want it to be, you don't want it to be jumping around faster than the eye can even process. So it's nice to add a little bit of lag sometimes and smooth out movement so it's not so disorienting. Now, from the audio analysis, we have two outputs, processed levels and audio signal. So if we wanted to, we could continue our audio signal chain from the audio file in. Like if these weren't connected, we could just continue it that way. Either way really works. I'm going to get rid of this because I'm not using it. By the way, if you need to disconnect operators, you can hover over the little connection and just right click and say disconnect. You can also say insert operator, and this is really good to know. If you wanted to add some extra thing, you could do it like that. So now from our audio analysis, we're going to take the processed levels, the top one, drag out, hit tab, and we're going to find, by searching, select. And there it is highlighted. Instead of clicking it now, we could also just hit enter and it will create it. So now we see all of the parameters that could be output by audio analysis. For our purposes though, we're only using these three. So we're gonna select under channel names, the asterisk means everything. So right now it's gonna select everything that the audio analysis tool could put out. Instead, let's go to this little arrow here. We can select low, do it again, mid, and high. You could also just type it out like that. So now we have some parameters between, or starting at 0 and going up from there. I'm going to unsmooth these things. So that's like our raw levels of sound from our track. From there, I would usually go into a lag chop. So this is going to do a similar thing that the smooth function is doing in audio analysis, but we're going to have a little bit more control over it. These lag values are amounts of time currently in seconds that the signal is going to lag. So if you had like a very sharp impulse, this first value means it will take 0.2 seconds to hit the full level of that signal, and then it'll take 0.2 seconds longer for that signal to go back down after it's gone. We can set those to whatever we want. I'll usually start with them at 0.2 and then go from there. So now we have a low, mid, and high signal from our song. And I'd say here we're ready to start mapping stuff to visual parameters. So this is going to be a very, very basic visual network. It's not going to be cool or like usable for VJing purposes, but it's right now just to sort of show what's going on. So let's pull in a movie file in top, and then hit the plus here. And then there's a folder with some movies already in it. I believe that you should be here in this folder called map. If you go down, there's another folder there called nature. And here we have 5 movies of just like stills of nature. So we can grab one of these. I think I'm going to do the tree, movie 3. Again, if you didn't catch that, under the plus button, you should already be here in this map folder, since that's where the banana image is. And this is wherever you chose to download your Touch Designer installation. If this isn't working, maybe just pull up another movie file that you have on your computer. But yeah, we're going to go there, nature, movie 3, and open. So it's just some leaves barely rustling, quite peaceful and nice. And we're going to feed this into let's do a bloom. And you can see if you zoom in, this has it adds like a glowing effect to higher values, like lighter colors. We can also backdrop this top. There's this blue button that says display. If we click that, it will make the background that image. I can find that sometimes this is like a little disorienting, so I usually keep it off, but if you'd like it on, you can. And then inside the bloom here, we're going to map some of these values to values within the bloom. There's this little star icon on our lag chop, viewer active, so we'll click that. And now when we hover over the parameters, we could click them and drag them. So we're gonna hover over the low, click it and drag it to, let's do bloom intensity for right now. And then after you let go over that number, we'll say chop reference. I'll give you a second to try that. And if it didn't work, just remember clicking the low, dragging it over onto that number and saying chop reference. That means that this low parameter is now affecting the intensity of the bloom effect. Hovering over the bloom intensity, there's this little plus button. If we open that, we have this reference to that lag chop saying this operator that's called lag1 and then its parameter low. After this, we can type math here to affect the signal without changing things here. So it's looking pretty weak, I would say, and we're like hitting 0.3, 0.4 max. So we could do asterisk 10, we can try. And now when the low end hits, it's boosting that bloom intensity much more. And we didn't have to change our low signal that we were working with down here. So then if we like map this to another parameter of something else, we could tweak that how we need to, and so on. So now we've got this sort of flashing light with our music. In your Touch Designer file, you can unbypass your audio device out and listen to your music, make sure that it's syncing up as you expected it to. And then let's do another parameter. We could do the mids. Well, no, let's add another top first. From the bloom, we can click and then tab. And let's add, how about, we'll do my favorite effect in Touch Designer. We could do a texture 3D. And what this is going to do is store a set amount of previous frames from the video. And then from the texture 3D, we're going to go to a time machine. The time machine has two inputs. The top one always has to be texture 3D, and the bottom one is another image. Right now, we're going to make that the source image. So we'll have it like that. And you'll see this has a very interesting effect. What it's doing is offsetting dark pixels that are stored in the previous frames from the current frame. So we can drag this back or make it a little bit shorter. So it's like, if it's at 0, it's not affecting the signal. Can put it at 60 for now. Minus 60 rather. So maybe what we could do with our mids is map that to the black offset of our time machine. But you'll notice that since the black offset only happens in negatives, 0 is like the highest it can go. Since this is a positive value, we can't push it any higher than 0. So we have to multiply it by a negative number. Just type in asterisk and then let's do -10. So now you see that our little slider is moving backwards when the mids are hitting. This is still pretty weak. Let's try -100. Now it's moving back a good bit. So when the low's hitting, it makes it bloom, it makes it glow a little bit. When the mids are hitting, we are shifting dark pixels backwards in time, effectively, I guess. So these two frequencies are doing different things, affecting our image, obviously. It doesn't look that great, but this is just, again, to give you an idea of how to make something audio reactive. In the next video, we are going to make a bigger audio reactive project where I'm going to explain all of this a little bit less, because we're going to also be focused on making an actually cool, useful visual. But for now, this is kind of just so you get the idea of things. That's all I'm going to do for right now, but make sure to find the next video so that you can make a awesome 3D geometry kind of point cloud visual with me. See you there.